Today is Tuesday, December the 13th, 2016. And I saw some great footage today from my man Kanye West. Now, if you don't know who that is, if for some reason you've been living under a rock for the past 10 to 15 years, Kanye West is a well-known rapper who has had a lot of controversies over the past few weeks and a few days, maybe even a few months. I'll get to that a little bit later, but what he's in the news for today is meeting with Donald Trump at Trump Tower. And it's caused a lot of reaction all over the internet. You know, I've pretty much been posted up just waiting for the liberal think pieces to flow in because they're upset, they're triggered, they're all kind of different things. But before I get into that, what I want to do right now is show you the footage of him entering Trump Tower with his entourage and or security. And then we're going to see him and Trump interacting with one another. And then after we do that, I'll come back and I'll give you my reaction. So without further ado, go ahead and roll it.
Kanye, what are you doing here today?
Kanye, what are you guys going to be talking about? No, I was hoping it's Kanye's.
There he is.
Kanye. Mr. Trump, Kanye, what did you guys discuss in your meeting today?
Just friends, and he's a good man.
Did you
Doing
discuss
well.
possible
Long
cabinet
time.
positions?
We've been friends for a long time.
Did you guys discuss
Life. We discussed
life.
life.
Money in 2020. Do you think that's something you still want to do in light of this meeting? Kanye, are you considering performing at the inauguration next year? Kanye, no comment about your meeting with the president-elect. This is the president-elect of the United States. Nothing to say?
I just wanted to take a picture right now.
Do you wish you were voting for him, Kanye?
And you take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. All right?
Tell me about the press conference that was rescheduled. Mr. Trump, maybe about Rex Tillerson.
All right, so you're able to see what's going on. You saw him come in, you know, with the blonde top. Shout out to Kanye for the fashion statement. You know, some would try to say that his blonde hair was like a homage to Donald Trump or trying to copy him. I don't know what that is, but Kanye has always kind of been doing stuff like that. I mean, you could see some of his fashion line. It looks like, you know, Walking Dead chic, you know, holes in it for like $1,000. He had white T-shirts on sale for like $100, plain white cotton T-shirts for like $100 or more. So Kanye has always kind of been on the edge with fashion and statements and stuff like that he's been doing. He's a businessman. He understands how to get attention. He's a genius marketer. So the blonde hair, that could just be one more thing that he did just to get more notoriety and attention to himself. Now, this meeting with Donald Trump comes on the heels of a so-called nervous breakdown. But I think what that was the media trying to spin it one way that it wasn't. Now, he was on stage having a few rants and whatnot, and then they're trying to say, well, it was at the anniversary of his mother's death, so that could be him just going into a mental spiral. I don't think that's what happened. I think that the liberal media and so-called friends around him wanted for him to be that way because of his support for Donald Trump and certain other things that he was saying on stage about his other friends like Beyonce and Jay-Z. But I digress. Getting back to the situation here with his whole nervous breakdown, I don't think that was really real. And I think that he looked well today. He looked well. He looked sharp, coherent, and everything else. You saw him and Trump when they were talking, or when Trump was speaking. He was like, well, we just spoke about life. And I think that's a good thing. How often does that really happen? How often have you ever heard anything about any other president? Somebody can go to a public place or a private location and just talk to him about life. Now, obviously, he wouldn't be able to do that with everybody now. That's a celebrity kind of thing. But at the end of the day, that shows his compassion, Donald Trump, that is. If he thinks that Kanye's having an issue, he's able just to reach out to him and not be afraid of what the liberal media is going to say about him. Oh, you can't meet with him because he's mentally unstable, X, Y, and Z. They met, it was productive, and no problems happened. They took a few pictures. I'll play some of those in the box below, and I may play some right here if TMC does not get triggered and try to flag me for a picture, which could happen. But moving right along, this was a good meeting, just from the optics of it, from the outside looking in. I don't know exactly what they said, aside from what Trump said about how they spoke about life and how they've been good friends for a few years. And Kanye, at the end of it, was just trying to get that photo op, which is a good thing. I think this signals the end of the Dindu Nation, or at least the beginning stage of trying to end it. This whole culture in the black community, Hispanics, even some white liberals, they all kind of just want to put certain minority groups in the box of non-accountability. Or because you're this color, because you're that orientation or whatever it is, you got to be a victim and you must hate Donald Trump at all costs. I think Kanye meeting with Trump, and also Jim Brown, the world famous football player, an iconic football player, somebody that is like a symbol all around the world, and also Ray Lewis, another iconic football player. They also met with Donald Trump, and obviously they're both black.
We believe what the Trump administration is, if we can combine these two powers of coming together, forget black or white. Black or white is irrelevant. The bottom line is job creation, economic development in these urban neighborhoods to change the whole scheme of what our kids see for our next future. There's nobody we can't reach, and I think that's why we're here, because we can bring a lot of people to work together. And
we're not here because of politics. We are here to help the President of the United States help the people that need help.
So when you have people like this that are meeting with Donald Trump at Trump Tower publicly, and you seeing smiles on their face, I think that does a lot just on the optics of it to take away a lot of the taboo that's around Donald Trump, the air and the lies that have been perpetuated by the mainstream media. Speaking about fake news, a lot of the mainstream media perpetuates fake news against Donald Trump to make him appear to be this bad guy, this like satanic type of figure. But then when you see more individuals, black celebrities, etc., and there's random black folks like myself speaking up and saying, hey, this is a good guy, and/or let's give him a chance, that will just take away what the media has tried to push over these past couple of years since Trump has decided he was going to run. So that's pretty much all I got to say about it. As a shout out to Kanye West for coming to meet with Donald Trump in public. That was a great look. I hope that happens a lot more celebrities, more black folks, all walks of life. And the thing about it, as I close, Donald Trump has met with black pastors and everything else. And it's not much he can do to avoid the liberal media's lies and mischaracterizations of his character. He gets labeled as a racist and X, Y, and Z, even though he's met with 100 pastors, 100 black pastors, even though he's gone to black churches and been involved with the experience. He looked kind of awkward and goofy when he was in Detroit, but at least he went. At least he reached out. The Republicans, even though we got a low percentage of blacks, we still got more of a percentage than blacks than Mitt Romney did in 2012. So that lets me know that the outreach, even if it was a small difference, it made a difference. Even if you didn't see the numbers change, it's still good to go out there and outreach, because at least you're making an effort rather than just writing black people off or writing the Hispanics off like many other Republican candidates have done in the past. You feel like you can't get it. There's no hope. You're just mindlessly aligned to the Democrat Party. But the truth is, there are a lot of us out there that want to break away from the Democrat Party, but we don't see a viable alternative a lot of the times because we feel like the Republicans are not reaching out. They're not extending their hand. Now, a guy like myself, I understand what the Republican policies are, but you got to understand the majority of Americans don't really understand politics like that, regardless of you liberal, Democrat, Republican. It doesn't even really make a difference. A lot of Americans just don't understand politics like that. So you got to do the outreach. Even if you just reach a small percentage, you do it bit by bit, you chip away. I think this is a good thing that Trump is doing by chipping away, by having these people come meet with him. If they request to come meet him, hey, say, hey, come on, come one, come all. He's not going to be discriminatory. And he'll go above and beyond to go out of his way to make things happen, to be able to be involved with different communities. I think that's a good thing for the Republican Party going forward, and it spells doom for the Democrat Party, who is currently in shambles. So that's pretty much all I got to say about the situation. What do you think? Do you think it was a good meeting, at least on the optic level for Donald Trump and for Kanye West? And also you had Jim Brown and Ray Lewis. Was that a good thing optically? Do you think that anything productive was happened in the meeting? Or do you think that it was a bad look? It didn't look good for Kanye. It didn't look good for Trump. Do you think Trump is a racist, a sexist, a anti-Semite, or a homophobe, or whatever you want to call him? If that's your assertion, please give me some evidence in the comments below. Explain to me how you can say that. Where is your evidence? All I see is outreach. All I see is him trying to reach across the proverbial aisle, so to speak, whether it be racial, cultural, party lines, or whatever. I see somebody that's going to bring a lot of unity to people that want to be unified. Those that do not want to be unified will remain in their segments, and that will be the case regardless of who is the president. Oh, and one more thing about the Kanye Trump meeting. I think the meeting has an end game according to TMZ. Now, this has not been confirmed by anybody. As far as I know, it could be fake news because you have unconfirmed sources named. So that may or may not be fake news. But if it's correct, if it's real, then it makes sense in the context of how Trump and Kanye had this meeting. Now, this meeting was not so simple, just about talking, just about chit-chatting, according to the sources. What it is like a preliminary meeting to be able to get in good with Trump. Because like I said earlier, people are going to try to tell Trump, don't meet with Kanye because he's crazy, et cetera, et cetera. Kanye wanted to get a face-to-face meeting so Trump understands who he is and understands about him, rather than just having him hear about him from people that are in his ear and the news media, et cetera, which we all know can tell lies. And his end game is to try and help the violence in Chicago. Kanye has some time on his hands since he kind of postponed some of his concert dates to kind of get himself back right and get himself back in the swing of things. I think the whole thing with the so-called nervous breakdown was just him being overextended, you know, dehydrated, tired, exhausted. You're trying to do too many things at once. You can kind of crash and burn. So he's going to take a lot of time off from that and get himself back energized and everything, get the high energy back on deck. And he wants to reach out to Donald Trump now, so when he becomes the president, they can build a relationship as the years progress to be able to help the violence in Chicago. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think it's ironic that he's asking Donald Trump, or he will ask or may ask Donald Trump to help with the violence in Chicago when Barack Obama's been in there for 8 years and he's allegedly from Chicago. We know he's not from Chicago. He's from Indonesia and Hawaii, but I digress. It's interesting how somebody who was in office in Chicago could have helped with Chicago violence, but did not. That's interesting. I think that Kanye is more intelligent than people give him credit for. I think that he knows that Obama couldn't do anything about the violence in Chicago. I think that he knows that people like Rahm Emanuel, who is in Chicago as a mayor, if I'm not mistaken, he may have been the mayor. I'm not sure what he's doing right now, but people like him come from Obama's camp, and under Rahm Emanuel, Chicago was still very violent. So I think he understands how to get certain things done. I think he understands about conservative principles and about loosening up gun control so civilians in the street are able to better protect themselves away from the gangbangers. And he understands certain policies that would enable job creation in the low-income black areas. I think he understands that. So going to a guy like Trump would make a lot of sense here, because you're able to get a lot more accomplished versus dealing with an ineffective guy like Mr. Barack Hussein Obama, who at this point is a lame duck. So that's pretty much all I wanted to add. I'll place my source for that in the box below. Like I said, it comes from TMZ, so it could or it could not be fake news, but I think it makes sense. And I hope it's true, because if that's true, I think that Trump and Kanye may be able to make a dent in the violence in Chicago. It's a deep problem. I don't think you could just have two guys going there for 4 years or 8 years and fix it. But if they make an effort, I think that's better than nothing. And I think the optics of them trying to help would maybe inspire others to help as well, not only from celebrities and stuff like that, but also those in the community. So whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. That's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Kanye West, you know what? I'll never say bad about him. You know why? Because he loves Trump. He loves Trump. He goes around saying, Trump is my all-time hero. He says it to everybody. So Kanye West, I love him. Now, maybe in a few years I'll have to run against him. I don't know, so I'll take that back. But you know what? He's been so nice to me. I sort of, you people have sort of seen, because I've been a counterpuncher. I only hit people when they hit me. Only. And Kanye West has been so great. I would never say bad about him because he says such nice things about me.